Good, happy Tuesday morning, December 14, 2021. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Tuesday morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Tuesday morning, so let's get started right now. First up, Omicron variant of COVID-19 detected for the first time in New Hampshire resident. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
The first case of the Omicron variant in New Hampshire was expected. According to health officials, at least 25 states have reported cases. It was first found in South Africa. In fact, health officials say it's likely Omicron spread to many parts of the world before it was even reported.
The reality is we're going 2 years now, and we're not getting better. We're getting worse.
Dr. Artemio Mendoza with Wentworth Douglas Hospital says so far cases in the U.S. have been mild. Still, he says we're in uncharted territory.
Whether this is really the thing or is yet to rear its ugly head, who knows?
As for the first case here in the Granite State, officials say the person was fully vaccinated but not boosted. They're from Cheshire County. Health officials say they traveled out of state and were exposed to someone who tested positive. The person is reported to have had a mild illness. They recovered during isolation. Right now, Delta is the dominant variant in New Hampshire, but after Omicron's arrival, state epidemiologist Dr. Benjamin Chan says that could change.
It's predicted to be more infectious, meaning is more easily spread person to person. It's likely going to, some of our therapeutics, like some monoclonal antibodies, are likely going to be less effective. And there's likely an increased risk that this variant can evade or escape immunity.
Still, Dr. Chan says the vaccine is our best tool. Looking ahead, as families gather for the holidays, Chan says to stick to the precautions we've all become accustomed to, including staying home if you feel sick and practicing good hygiene. And Dr. Chan says research is currently underway to find out how easily Omicron spreads and whether it tends to cause more severe or more mild symptoms. Live in the studio, Grace Feinerman, WMUR News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Seven more COVID-19 deaths reported in New Hampshire as cases and hospitalizations fall. 7 more people have died in New Hampshire of COVID-19 as active cases and hospitalizations have fallen somewhat from their recent record highs. State health officials said the 7 people who died were all age 60 or older. One death was associated with a long-term care facility. There have been 1,788 deaths attributed to COVID-19 since the pandemic began. Hospitalizations remain higher than nearly at any other point of the pandemic, with 454 people currently hospitalized for COVID-19. That's down from last week's all-time high of 479 during last winter's COVID-19 surge. Hospitalizations reached as high as 335. Active cases have also dropped since last week's record highs. Health officials said there are currently 9,086 known COVID-19 cases in the state. Officials announced 3,191 new cases over the weekend, along with 458 newly confirmed cases from earlier. New Hampshire on Monday confirmed its first case of the Omicron variant, which appears to spread more easily than the previous variants. Mobile vaccine clinic plans several stops in rural New Hampshire locations. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
So, you need a new roof, but you have so many questions. Should I get a metal roof or asphalt shingles? Are the materials...
The town of Springfield is home to about 1,300 people. Town Administrator Tamara Butcher says vaccination rates have been lagging a bit. The state dashboard says 67% of Springfield residents are fully vaccinated, but recent demand prompted the town to schedule a visit with the vaccine van.
I think it's a combination. I think there were people that were holdouts that just said, this is new, we don't want to do it. That was at the beginning. And then things got, bad.
Now demand for shots is high.
At the middle school last weekend, there was huge lines, and a lot of people that showed up from in the district weren't able to get in.
Convenience plays a big role in getting more shots in arms. Clinics have been held in Lebanon and Claremont, but those locations are at least a 30-minute drive from Springfield.
So I think we're going to have a good turnout. I really hope so.
225 shots will be available from 9 to 6 tomorrow.
The best bet is to be here at 9 o'clock.
The van is also making stops in Litchfield, Newton, Brookline, and Boscawen this week. According to New Hampshire Health and Human Services, each location will have anywhere from 120 to 300 doses available. I'm Nicole Alley, WMUR News Now.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. Former U.S. Senator Kelly Ayotte named chair of BAE Systems Board of Directors. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
So, you need a new roof, but you have so many questions. Should I get a metal roof or asphalt shingles? Are the materials and work...
Tonight, former U.S. New Hampshire Senator Kelly Ayotte is the new chair of BAE Systems Board of Directors. She has served on the company's board since 2017, but will now fill the position left behind by Michael Chertoff, the former Secretary of Homeland Security. Ayotte will serve a 3-year term as board chair.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Lawsuit challenges constitutionality of divisive concepts law passed by GOP legislative majority. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Now's the time to get a great deal on taking care of your property. You need the #1 rated reliable.
The American Federation of Teachers New Hampshire is the lead plaintiff, and they filed suit in U.S. District Court Concord earlier Monday.
Today, we are taking a stand against a law that brings political partisanship into the classroom and chokes off learning in a way that is reminiscent of book burning.
The union argues that the law restricts free speech and the free exchange of ideas in the classroom. They also say its vagueness has scared some educators away from teaching history, afraid they'll violate the law and be targeted by people with a political agenda.
This law signals that New Hampshire believes it's okay to censor education, thought, and freedom, and doesn't believe teachers should be able to teach honest and accurate history.
The bill was originally called Divisive Concepts, but was revised and rewritten by Senate Majority Leader Jeb Bradley and signed into law by Governor Chris Sununu as part of the state's budget. Those in favor of it say it simply prohibits teaching students that they are superior or inferior to people of another race, sex, gender identity, religion, status, or national origin.
The bill that was passed into law simply solidifies the fundamental American belief that no one is better than anybody else, that we're all equal.
Ryan Terrell from New Hampshire's Board of Education says the lawsuit is focused around language in the original copy of the bill, not the one that was signed into law.
It shocks me that the language of the actual passed legislation isn't mentioned.
But the AFT New Hampshire argues the law is still too vague.
It puts teachers at the center of an impossible conflict, all while they're just trying to educate their students.
Governor Chris Sununu tells News 9 that he, too, believes the lawsuit is focused on the original bill, which was set aside. In Concord, Scott Cook, WMUR News.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Search and rescue teams see signs of hope after all Mayfield candle factory workers accounted for. Let's take a listen to that video from WLKY News.
At least 74 Kentuckians lost their lives in Saturday's Quad State tornado. But among all the devastation in western Kentucky, there is some good news tonight for the families of 8 workers at the candle factory flattened by the tornado. They've been found safe. WLKY's Mark Vanderhoff begins our team coverage tonight from the site in Mayfield.
This was welcome news for the search and rescue teams who were planning to be here all night, wondering what they would find in that wreckage behind me.
Me, Casey, another guy, we just kept on pushing the wall until it was like a little enough space to crawl out of.
That's Samantha Delgado describing how she fought her way out of this rubble, the remains of the candle factory in Mayfield, flattened by Friday night's tornado.
We didn't see nobody, and then we're we're 6 feet, 5 or 6 feet under, so we had to pull ourselves up and walk on the metal beams and pipes to get out.
Delgado and others had been wondering what would become of their 8 missing co-workers. On Monday evening, a welcome announcement. The company that owned the plant had accounted for everyone.
We have a high level of confidence there is nobody in this building. There's no one left in this building. We've had human interaction with all of the debris on the site with canines, both live and human remains canines that have been throughout the building.
That meant what had been a recovery mission is now a cleanup mission.
You do see some of the operations still going on tonight, but sometime through our nighttime operational period, we will cease these operations and then come back in the morning and regroup to see where we need to go from there.
It will be welcome news for factory employees who are still mourning 8 of their dead co-workers.
For the ones that lost their family members, I'm so sorry that this had to happen, and it's crazy. I don't understand it. I don't know, man.
The incident commander, Jody Myman, who is also the director of Louisville Emergency Management Agency, says they will now begin their demobilization plan here at the site. In Mayfield, Mark Vanderhoff, WLKY News.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Have a great rest of your day and see you back here later on today for another newscast. Goodbye, everyone.